Hello friends, welcome to Thermomix Adventures. Lisa here. Today I'm going to be making an amazing gluten-free pizza dough to actually go with some soup for dinner. So the kids have asked for soup, and when you see this, I will most likely be in Fiji. So I won't be here cooking food for them. I will be enjoying all the decisions being made for me and just being given amazing food to eat. So that will be really spoiling. But I'm going to show you how easy it is to make this pizza dough. Now, my 14-year-old has been making this for a very long time when we have our Friday night pizza night. So he is a bit sensitive to gluten, and so he's been making this, and it is amazing. If you've never tried this recipe and you are gluten-free or celiac, this is a great recipe for you. The beautiful thing in this recipe as well is that you get to mill your own rice flour down. Well, actually, it's not built in the recipe. You have to know ahead that it's there, but I love the fact that we're going to do that as part of this process. If you are requiring a gluten-free lifestyle or diet, then being able to mill your own gluten-free flours is a game changer. Now, we don't do it all the time because just time restraints, but it's good to know you can when you want to, and there's recipes there for you. So we're going to go straight into start. Actually, no, we're not. We're going to look at the ingredients. I just want to see how much I need to mill. 70 grams of white rice flour. So I can straight away then bring up my scales. 70 grams. Me reminding myself. 70 grams in it goes. 77 will do. Okay, now we're going to mill this down. It's going to take 1 minute. Rice is one of the very few things that takes a minute. Most things you're going to find almonds to almond meal in 1 minute. Almond to almond meal in 10 seconds, not 1 minute. You do 1 minute, you're going to have almond butter. Okay, sorry, I should have just said 10 seconds. So this is being so hard, takes a bit longer. So I'm going to press play and I'm going to see you on the other side of this. So I'll see you in a sec. Oh, speed 10, 1 minute, speed 10. See you shortly. All right, it's singing, it's saying it's done. Love that. So we're going to grab something and put that aside. Look at that, rice flour. Now, I don't know about you, but before I had a Thermomix and could mill my own rice flour, I would buy the little box of rice flour, because you typically only used, back in those days, I would only use rice flour for like shortbread at Christmas time, right? And by the time you went to use it the next year, the weevils had got in and they'd made a home in the little paper box. I'm like, why did they never seal that up properly? I don't know. But yeah, now with a Thermomix, you just mill your own. And you can take control of what sort of rice. Like ours is organic rice as well. So we know exactly what's in our food. All right, back we go. Start. Let's get started on the recipe. Place a bowl on the mixing bowl lid and next weigh into the bowl psyllium husk. So psyllium husk is this cool stuff here. 15 grams. It goes very glue-like. Oh, okay. I'm going to give you a little hint here. If you have a TM7 and this happens to you, it's so smart. It knows that it wants the bowl in place to weigh this. That's why it told you weigh, put a bowl on top of the bowl and weigh into. So it wants you to do, look at it, watch that picture. Watch. Oh, it says hello, you've put a bowl on top. I love that. All right, let's try now. 10. Okay, we're good now. 15 grams. I love how smart it is. And I love that what we know now is just a glimpse of what's to come. So if what I've learned over the years in my nearly 12 years with Thermomix is that I can't imagine what they've got in store. That's, I'm very narrow mind, like I just cannot even fathom what Vorwerk have in store for the Thermomix. Okay, 80 grams of warm water. This is not hot at all. It's a little, probably 37, maybe 40. It's just warm, but not really. 80 grams. I'm going to keep this water close though because we need it in our next step. Next, stir to combine and set aside. I'm not going to stir it. It can just sit there. And you can see straight away it's already changing texture. Psyllium husk is one of those things we don't buy very often, and it sort of sits around and then eventually it's like, oh wow, it's like years and I've finally finished it. And we buy it in bulk though. So go to your health food shop, buy it in bulk. Okay, 200 grams of warm water. I love how the scales resets for me. I'm not going to clean this bowl out. It won't matter that there's a bit of that rice flour in there. I am going to err on the underside, okay? Gluten-free is always tacky, okay? Be comfortable with that. It's just life. It's a bit messier than I'd like it to be, but it's so okay. It's so amazing. It's so tasty. There's no belly aches. There's no rashes. So that's a win. Okay, 2.5 teaspoons of yeast. Remember to keep your yeast fridge or freezer. It doesn't like to change temperature. It likes consistency. Now it says sugar. I think I'm out of sugar. I could put honey in, but I don't want to actually add another bit of liquid. So I'll just put that scraping in. That was not even 1/8 of a teaspoon. Waiting on my next order to come in of bulk food. Okay, it says to warm up, but my water, as I said, that kettle, I had boiled it earlier and then I topped it to the top because I wanted, like I boiled it for a drink and then I topped it to the top with cool water for this. So I don't need to do that, so we can just skip it. But if you are living in Tassie or Antarctica where the water is cold coming out of your tap, heat it up to 37 degrees so the yeast can do its job, okay? Apple cider vinegar, 15 grams. And by the way, if I didn't have any sugar, I would just leave it out. The sugar feeds the yeast and it will make it slightly fluffier, slightly more active faster. But in the long run, it'll be okay. Okay, so next up is gluten-free flour. So as I said, you can make it all from yourself from scratch, but there are time and a place. And when I'm feeding all of us, there's no time and a place right now. Okay, 250 grams. I have found not all gluten-free flours are equal. Recently, I had a different brand I used and everything turned out really chewy. And what it was the different level of arrowroot in the mix, because they don't have to really, like, it's not a set recipe. And some are designed more for cakes and biscuits and others are more designed for bread and some are just general. So these ones were kind of a bit fancier and should have been a bit, I would have thought, more diverse and better, but everything, like the breads and the pizzas were that bit chewy. It was like there's too much arrowroot in it, or tapioca. They work very similar. So 250, there we go. I don't mind that I went over because of that tackiness that I don't love. Xanthan gum. Now this is your thickener in gluten-free cooking. If you forget this, it's the difference between a pancake batter and a dough that you can actually shape, okay? So 1.5 teaspoons. It's one of those things, again, I buy once and it lasts a long time. I think I've refilled this once since we moved here 4 years ago. So it is in all your dough-based things. So just buy it once and it's there for when you want to use it. Okay, 1 teaspoon of salt. This is to cut through your flour flavor. I don't think I've said that in a while. Anyone who ever comes to me and says I bought a Thermomix, I've been making bread and it doesn't taste right, my 2 questions. Are you putting in the required amount of salt and sugar? Not necessarily sugar. Sugar doesn't make that much of a difference unless you're coming off store-bought. If you are buying white fluffy bread from the supermarket, you're going to notice a difference because this doesn't, you can put your sugar in definitely, but there's more in that store-bought typically. The salt though is what cuts through that flour, okay? So regardless of gluten-free or not, the salt has a really important thing that it does on our tongue. And yeah, that's the difference. And they always say, oh yeah, it seems like a lot of salt. And I'm like, yeah, put it in. It'll taste amazing with it in. And the thing is as well, if you're cooking with scratch with a Thermomix, like we don't buy cakes, we don't buy biscuits, we don't buy packet made food. Sometimes over the years I've had questions like, hey, you guys seem to do a lot of salt in your food. Well, we have no packaged food. And when you don't buy anything processed, you're not getting salt as a preserving agent in the biscuits, the cakes, the slices, the scones, the bread, the wraps, the jar of paste. Like you don't have them. You literally, what you see me put into food is our salt. Except if we have roast veggies or hot chippies or something that we've made, like you've seen me steam chips a little while ago in the Thermomix, then we'll put salt on it on the table, but that's it. It's different way of cooking and thinking about it. The gel, and it's definitely a gel now. Look at this. Look at this. There's a bit on top that I should have stirred in that I didn't stir in. But Look at it. It's literally jelly-like now. I think it's a high fiber food. I have a funny feeling when I was pregnant, they were like, hey, put psyllium husk in things if you need to. Let's not talk about why, but women, you know why. So I feel like it's a high fiber food, your psyllium husk. That's how I knew of it before I had a Thermomix. Okay, kneading function. Our kneading function on our Thermomix is amazing. Does the hard work for us. However, our Thermomix still needs you. So when you are kneading, stay near your Thermomix. Your benches are all different. So the movement you get is going to be different. As I've related it before to an upright washing machine. Okay, that movement can walk its way in places we don't want it, like off the bench. So I'm going to take 3 minutes to put away the ingredients and have a clean bench. So I'm just here to keep an eye on my Thermomix, and I'll come back to you in that 3 minutes and let's shape this on a tray, ready for the next step of proving. So I'll see you in 3 minutes time. And if you're on a TM31, TM5 or TM6, you need to just push your kneading button and knead for 3 minutes, put a timer on. So we'll see you shortly. Okay, welcome back. I have my tray, I have baking paper. I really do preference baking paper when it comes to gluten-free stuff. I find that silicone mats and stuff like that, it's sticky, it's messy. So now it says the dough will be sticky. Place the dough on a lightly oiled silicone bread mat or work surface and form into a smooth ball. So there we go. Let's have a look at this. So we turn our little dial on the bottom. We do actually have a little end on my TM7 spatula that does that for us. Grab the last of the dough out. I'm actually really surprised. This is not anywhere near as sticky as I thought it would be. Whether it was my little playing with certain ingredients incidentally, maybe. Okay. Next. So it says, work into a ball, lightly grease a large bowl, place dough in the prepared bowl and cover and refrigerate overnight or set aside. We never do that. He is typically making this at 5:15 for a 6 o'clock dinner, maybe 6:15 dinner. Okay, so wait until it's doubled in size for an hour. I'm going to do some shortcutting. Use pizza dough as needed. All right, finish. So first things first, let's get you over here so you can see a little bit. Here we go. All right, so there's my dough. We're going to bring it into a ball. It's actually amazing to work with. I am a little excited. It's nice. It is very cool. All right, so it is going to be, like gluten, quite tough to work with at this point in time. It doesn't retract in quite as much as you do get with gluten. So if you were doing a glutinous pizza, Pizza Bianca is my go-to. It is amazing. I do it at demos. You can leave the herbs in it or have them on top. I'm actually going to chop herbs shortly and put on top of this with some oil and salt once it's proven. But what I do is I do this. So I don't follow their instructions. I take it out, put it on a tray, and then I let it push it out as far as I can, and then I let it prove. And then once it's been 10 or 15 minutes in a warm spot, you can then roll it out and I get it out to the corners then, and then I put the topping on it and then get it in the oven. So I'm going to do a similar thing here. I'll get it out as far as I can now, because it is like flour stuff needs to relax. It needs to take the stress off. I'll just move my keyboard out the way. So pressing it out. Now I should have made mention at the beginning, the neater your circle is, the neater your shape becomes. Probably should have taken a little more care when I'm doing a recording. I wouldn't for normal day in the day in life, but probably should have been a little more careful. But anyway, so I'm just rolling this out. Being on baking paper, I will have no trouble getting this off at the end once it's cooked. Won't get stuck. Now it is going to rise. So this is going to, once I get it out nicely, it's actually going to rise, and I'll come back and I'll show you what that looks like, that texture difference, and we'll top it together. In the meantime, I will chuck some rosemary into the Thermomix, blitz that up, put some garlic in there too, and I'll sprinkle it with some salt when I'm done. And this is going to be cut up and had with soup, which will be so delicious. So there you go. I'm just making a rough rectangle. You can be neater than me, I'm sure. I'm not the neatest cook in the kitchen. You guys know that by now. But that's okay. Real food. is not all the same, which we do like. All right, there we go. So I'm going to put my Thermo mat on top of it, and I'm going to let this grow for half an hour. And it's only going to take about 12 minutes to cook in a hot oven when we're done. So I'll come back to you in about half an hour. It'll be proven and fluffy, and we're going to top it together. So we'll see you then. Okay, welcome back. It's been a little while and the texture's changed. You can see it's kind of a bit bouncy now. Well, not bouncy, fluffy. And I'm going to just put holes in it with my finger. You may have a thing called I think it's a docker. It rolls over your dough and puts the holes in it, but I'm just going to do this. Then we're going to get our oil, just some olive oil, put it beautifully over the top. And I have got the oven on preheating. So 200 and I've got the recipe up, 230 degrees, if it goes that hot, it says 20 minutes. So I'm just going to spread this. Now this was the rosemary and the garlic. I don't have a huge amount of garlic. I had fresh, but it was a tiny clove I found. So spread this over and then we just sprinkle it with salt and get it into the piping hot oven. Because we've not worked it at this point in time, because we laid it out earlier, we don't need to reprove it. If by some chance you got and reworked it and it's tough again, you'll have to let it fluff up and prove again. So now just a little bit of salt, and that's it. So that's how you make gluten-free pizza dough. We've turned it into a bit of a focaccia today in your Thermomix. I hope you'll give it a go. When you do, let me know what it's like, whether you enjoyed it. I hope you've got some hints and tips and you feel confident. And as I said, Pizza Bianca, if you're not gluten-free and you don't want to make it gluten-free, Pizza Bianca is the recipe for you. It is amazing. I'll try and remember to link it at the end of this video. If you've got questions, reach out. I'd love to hear from you. If you live in Australia, you want to get a TM7 on the bench, again, reach out. I'd love to be the one who inspires you, helps you get it, make sure you get the most out of it. But otherwise, take care and I'll see you in the next video soon. Bye for now.